There's a particular quality to the light here in Anji. It's early, and the sun doesn't blaze, it filters. It spills over the green ridges of the mountains, catching on the mist that rises from the valleys below. This is Jujiang. This is Huzhou. This is a different kind of pace. We arrived in the late afternoon. The journey felt less like a long drive and more like a gentle transition, a slow tuning of a dial from one frequency to another. The world outside the window gradually softened. The last thing I remember clearly from the road was passing a wide, shallow river, its water clear and quick over smooth stones, with clusters of bamboo on its banks dipping their leaves toward the current as if whispering secrets. And then we were here. The place felt less built and more discovered. The path to the door was lined with ferns and mossy stones. A simple wooden sign, bleached gray by the sun and rain, pointed the way. The building itself was low and quiet, all pale walls and dark wood, with a roof that swept down like the wing of a resting bird. But the true magic was inside. Or rather, it was the lack of a boundary between inside and out. The entire wall was a window, a single, clear pane looking onto a view that made you stop and just breathe. It was a living painting of tea mountains, endless rows of deep green bushes following the curves of the land like contours on a map. I spent a morning just watching the life of that view. The way the clouds would gather in a distant hollow, or how a sudden breeze would ripple across the tea bushes, turning the whole mountain into a shimmering, green sea. In the distance, small figures moved, the farmers, their wide-brimmed hats bobbing slowly and steadily through the roads. There was a deep, ancient rhythm to their work, a quiet patience that felt a world away from everything. Curiosity took us down the mountain one day. The lane into the nearest town was narrow, winding past old brick houses with tiled roofs. Washing hung on lines, flapping gently in the breeze. We passed a small grove of persimmon trees, their branches heavy with fruit that glowed like little orange lanterns. In the town, the pace was slow. An old man sat on a stool, mending a wicker basket. The smell of oil and scallions wafted from a tiny kitchen. It was all so beautifully, unremarkably ordinary. But the pull back up the mountain was always strong. Returning felt like coming home to a secret. As night fell, the big window turned into a black mirror, reflecting the warm, lit room back at us. We were a small island of light in a vast, dark sea of countryside. Lying in bed on the last night, listening to the profound silence, a silence so complete you could hear the creak of bamboo in the wind, I understood. This trip wasn't about doing or seeing in the usual way. It was about feeling the sun warm on the terrace tiles, tasting the sharp, clean tea, smelling the rain on dry earth. It was about the profound peace of being a small, temporary part of a very old, very beautiful landscape. It was a reminder that sometimes you need to go somewhere quiet to finally hear yourself think. Subscribe to WZS's Vision 360 for more journeys into the quiet places.